Hello, my name is Susan Arjabek, and today I will be discussing the differences between sex and gender and how gender identity can create challenges for our healthcare administration and healthcare workers alike. So what are the differences between sex and gender? Well, sex is the biological differences between females and males. Genetic differences between us through our DNA are the X or Y chromosomes that make us a female or male. Other genetic differences are the female and male hormones that our gender-specific organs create. Physical characteristics that differentiate the sexes are our genitalia. Gender-specific hormones for males is testosterone, and gender-specific genitalia for them are testes and penis. Genetic specific organs for females are our female breasts, our vaginas, uterus, and ovaries, and female specific hormone is estrogen. So what if you're born with both female and male genitalia or organs? Or what if you were physically born a boy but identify as a girl because you have feminine traits, or vice versa? This is where gender will come into play. This is where somebody will identify as. So if you are a boy and you've always had feminine traits, inside you've always felt that you were female, and so then you identify as a female, although you were born a boy. And vice versa for females. So for females, if you had more tomboyish traits, more masculine traits growing up, and you identified as a male, but you were born female, this is where gender identity will come into play. So this is the role that you would play as in society. As healthcare professionals, we can see how this can pose numerous challenges for us. We come across patients who don't conform to the standard gender roles of female and male. We will come across, I believe there are 3 different genders. They are cisgender. This is when you identify with the gender you were assigned at birth. The second gender type are transgenders. This is when you identify with a different gender that you were assigned at birth. And lastly, they are the transsexuals. This is when you have had the gender reassignment surgeries to change the sexual organs you were born with to that of a different gender. They will also take hormone therapy treatments to, if you're male, you could take hormones to grow female breasts. If you're female, you can take the male hormones and become or have a more masculine physique. So, as you can see, this can create challenges for healthcare workers on how to care for these patients. So understanding how your patients identify as is helpful on how to treat them. If they are transitioning from one sex to another, it is important to know where they are in that transition. Have they had the reassignment surgery? Are they on hormone replacement therapy meds? Or do they dress as the opposite sex? The risk this poses for healthcare professionals are often hard for us to deal with, and it is also hard for the patient to deal with. They may not feel comfortable discussing their transition. So building a rapport with our patients is important. So what do we do? What do we treat? Do we treat the gender, or do we treat the biological sex of the patient, no matter who they identify as? Let's say we have a trauma patient come through the ER. This patient has a full beard and a rather masculine buff physique. Upon assessing the patient and clothes being cut off, it is revealed that our John Doe is really a Jane Doe. They have developed female breasts and they also have a vagina. Well, the ER doc has ordered a medication that comes with a pregnancy black box warning. What should the ER staff do in this situation? Do they treat him as the transgender man that he is and assume that he is not pregnant, or treat his biological sex and test for pregnancy. The best thing to do would be to treat this patient's biological sex and test for pregnancy, although they identify as a male. If this team had lacked the knowledge and did not treat their patient as their biological sex, and this patient was pregnant, the medication could have had a negative impact on the patient and also the pregnancy. So what do we do about this? We can find approaches for gender-based care, and new approaches should include a full-on assessment, and include assessment questions as what sex are they, their gender identity, questions upon admission and each encounter should include where in transition are they? Have they had surgeries? Do they take hormones? Based on these assessment questions, you should be armed with the necessary information on how to better care for your patients, so you can make adjustments to their treatments, their procedures, their medications, and their care. This is important because you do not want to cause physical or emotional harm to your patients. We all took the oath to do no harm, and it is very important to show respect to these types of patients and to all patients, and to have inclusion in your education regarding transgenders, transsexuals, so that they are included in your education, in your assessments, and including the patients themselves in their care is key to do no harm to these patients.